All right, we got beer and we got donuts, and we are going to talk about the 50th anniversary of Monkey Wrenching, the Monkey Wrench Gang publishing that Ken Sanders, my guest today. Thanks for joining me, Ken.
You're welcome, Rich.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you on. This is just an honor, actually, to have you on, because this is one of the coolest books and one of the neatest illustrated books that I've seen published here in Utah.
Well,
sure.
Thank you. The Edward Abbey and the Monkey Wrench Gang has haunted me most of my life, so our fates seem intertwined, and coincidentally, it's not only my 50th anniversary of bookselling in downtown Salt Lake City this year, it's the 50th anniversary of the Monkey Wrench Gang.
Yeah, and I want to get into how you got to know Edward, how you got to know Art Crumb. And before we do, I'm going to play this clip from 40 years ago when you were releasing the 10-year anniversary edition. We'll play that now.
The math gets complicated.
A band of environmental desperados began an adventure which would pit passion against politics and guts against growth. They were the Monkey Wrench Gang, 4 people who believed that it was wrong to tear up the land in the name of progress. The Monkey Wrench Gang was a creation of author Edward Abbey. His tale of high adventure has sold over 500,000 copies in the past 10 years, and in celebration of its success, the Dream Garden Press of Salt Lake City has brought Abbey together with illustrator Robert Crumb for a special 10th anniversary edition of this Western classic.
Sanders, Dream Garden Press publisher, arranged the whole thing. I believe it was first his idea to ask R. Crumb to illustrate the book, and I think it was a great idea. And I'm glad that Mr. Crumb agreed to do it.
Really got into it and in total agreement with the politics of it, and the humor and everything I thought was real good. So it lent itself real well to cartoon imagery.
Wow, look at that crowd. Is that you?
Yeah.
That was you. That was Ken.
Abbey and Crumb had never met before this book was published, yet each man already had a sizable following. Abbey for his novels and essays, and Crumb for his drawings made famous in the 60s and 70s. But what do they think of each other's work?
I've been a fan of his for 25 years, and I think his drawings are quite appropriate to this particular book.
His descriptions of the characters are so detailed and visual. All his writing has real strong visual suggestions in it.
The vulture circles higher and tilts his wrinkled head to observe with keener interest 3,000 feet below the movement of 4 tiny wingless bipeds who scurry like mice in a roofless maze down a winding corridor between towering red walls of stone. They dash furtively from shadow to shade, as if the sand were too hot for their feet, as if hiding from the blaze of the sun or the other searching eyes in the sky. Great writing.
The Monkey Wrench Gang's 10-year anniversary edition has brought 2 artists together for a tribute to the book's success and to the land of...
We'll leave it there. That's so cool to see. And I saw you there for just a second, Ken. What was that like, bringing those 2 guys together? How did you orchestrate all that?
Well, it's a 5-year process. Originally, Ed and I went through a bunch of his favorite cartoonists, and it just wasn't working. I had the vision of Crumb's Abbey characters in my mind's eye, and nothing else would do. Robert Crumb could not have illustrated another one of Ed Abbey's books except the Monkey Wrench Gang. Mm-hmm. I sent Crumb an offer. He turned me down cold. Genius that I'm not, I sent him a paperback copy of the book. Once he read it, the proverbial wild horses, he wanted to do it. He calls me up. Is it true, as Mr. Abbey writes in the novel, are there people in real life that go out and do the sorts of things that Mr. Abbey writes about in his novel? Yes, Mr. Crumb, there are. He was hooked.
That's cool. And he was a New Yorker, Easterner?
No, a long-time Californian by then.
Oh, California.
He was living in Winters, California. It escaped the Bay Area by then. And then while we were talking, you mentioned the Crumb, the documentary movie of the early 90s.
Yeah.
About 10 years, less than 10 years after we did that. That in part, he fled to the south of France and has been there ever since.
Yeah.
He's 80 years.
You could tell in that documentary he was really no fan of I don't know, capitalism or urban centers or the whole growth of the
Correct.
United States.
He had been, screwed blue by capitalism. Keep on trucking. He never paid for that. He really hated the films that people made of Fritz the Cat and Mr. Natural. He was pretty disillusioned.
Because he just kept getting screwed as an artist
Yep.
over and over again.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, he's quite a character. I mean, both of these guys.
Mutt and Jeff.
What's that, Mutt and Jeff?
It's an old 30s cartoon about a really, really tall, lanky guy and a short guy. They were really famous cartoonists.
Look at this photograph.
There's Ernie
taken
Bulow.
out.
My friend
This
took
is
that
so-
photograph
let me
of
see if I can
Crumb
show it.
and Abbey in Courthouse Wash, Courthouse Towers behind him.
So you took him out there, or they?
Yeah, no,
How did that
we did.
materialize?
Ken Slight had a bookstore. Ken Slight, for those who don't know, is the
Yeah, I met
Is
and
the-
interviewed Ken Slade.
Yes, you
Lucky
have.
enough to meet him.
he was the seldom seen Smith character in the Monkey Wrench Gang. Lives with his wife Jane at Pack Creek Ranch. He had a bookstore in downtown Moab then, and so we had a big to-do. Media came, Newsweek, People magazine. We finally took Abbey and Crumb away and ate lunches, just the four of us, in the parking lot of the Fiery Furnace, which, if you can believe, in those days there wasn't anyone there. Now you can't get a parking lot spot in it, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And Ed begged off the hike. So Ernie Bulow, who makes me look like a pretty tiny sort of guy, took Mr. Crumb on a hike through the Fiery Furnace.
Wow.
And it was hilarious. We're going through these narrow fissures, and all of a sudden we hear Crumb's voice. There you are. Thank goodness we found you. We've been looking for you all day. And as we pop through the fissure, Crumb is just shaking his finger at this young climbing woman who's just frozen on this piece of rock. And he's accosting her verbally. Mother wants you to call you right now. And poof, he's gone into the next fissure. And this woman just is frozen, like trying to process what just happened to her. I catch up with Crumb later. Robert, what was that? Why did you do that? He shrugs his shoulders. He says, "Oh, I don't know. Felt like it. Besides, I know I had you two big guys to back me up. if
He
there's
didn't
any
even
trouble."
know the woman. He's just
No, of course not.
He's just creating a scene.
Yeah.
What a weirdo.
To this day, that poor woman doesn't have any idea that she got chastised by Robert Crumb in the Fiery Furnace.
Jeez, that's crazy. Yeah, and so I guess this story goes back to when you first met Edward Abbey. When did that? How did you meet him? How did you get to become friends with him?
Well, Steve Jones and Sherm Klaus started the Cosmic Airplane Hippie Head Shop in 1967. By 1975, Steve had gone through 3 locations. He was living on a cot in the back of it, didn't have 2 nickels. Bruce Roberts, a 60s activist, had come into some family money, and he put up $50,000 in 1975. And Steve wanted me to be a manager. He'd always wanted to have a bookstore, and he wanted me to create that. And I talked my way into a 3-way partnership, and we spent all of 75 finding the place, remodeling it. Our first employee worked in my old house, buying books from New York publishers, setting up accounts.
And you're what, 20 years old, something?
No, I'm in my 20s for sure, not 20. And, what if you opened a bookstore and nobody came? Well, it took off like a cosmic airplane. Oof. Sorry, I just can't resist
No,
bad
that's
puns.
good. That's pretty
Rich.
good.
And Ed Abbey walks in the store one day in 1976. We recognized him, and Mr. Abbey, would you sign these first edition books? And back in the rare book room, I start lecturing him about what I thought about Hayduke and friends littering their beer cans over the highways. And despite that beginning, we went on to become pretty good friends. Ed let me publish a Edward Abbey Western Wilderness Calendar that I did for 10 years, expanded it into 17 different national park and wilderness calendars, including the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, blah, 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 blah. Then by 85, or well, in the 80s, I was trying to figure out the rights to the hardbound. And by this time, I think the clip you played said it sold 500,000 copies. Well, that's like 2 or 3 million. Who knows now?
Wow.
And I just had this vision of Robert Crumb illustrating that book.
Yeah,
So he
that's
let me
great.
do that. And we, throughout the 80s, went on a whole bunch of river trips down the Green and the Colorado rivers, through Cataract Canyon, and just became, we were friends.
That's awesome.
And
And his home was Moab?
well,
Primarily?
Ed's lived all over the Southwest. Primarily, for a long time, he lived in Moab.
His
He
place
let-
was in Pat Creek too, right?
No, oh no, not then. No.
Oh, okay.
He lived in the trailer at Balanced Rock.
Yeah.
He did have a place in town too.
And the cat, I've been trying to kind of understand the character and the mindset of Edward Abbey. He wasn't anti-capitalist or anti-progress. He wasn't like a Luddite. He was more of like, we got to preserve this place, not exploit it to the point where it's not going to be recognizable for future generations, right? He wasn't
Yes.
all about we can't have electricity, right? Like, can you summarize what his position was on progress and growth and energy and all those big issues that were popping up in the 80s?
It's real easy. Just quote him. Growth, for the sake of growth, is the ideology of the cancer cell. Wilderness needs no defense, only more defenders.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Ed Abbey, his talent as a writer, if people that don't take him as a serious writer, I would challenge you to pick a paragraph or a page of his published works and edit it. See how far you get.
Yeah.
He's been there before you, and he's done a better job of it than you could.
Well, and the Earth First movement and growth for the sake of growth is equivalent to a cancer. I mean, obviously, the West has exploded in growth. Phoenix, Tucson, Sedona wouldn't exist if it weren't for Glen Canyon to a degree. They need the water down there.
Yes.
I know this is a big question, but did Edward Abbey didn't want the Glen Canyon Dam to exist? Did he not see that Arizona's major cities should exist either? I mean, what was?
Well, of course he didn't. Just read his satire, if you will, on the fate of Phoenix in his, maybe not one of his best novels, called Good News. He portrays a pretty bleak future.
Yeah.
Everybody ascribes things that Ed believed to him. What Ed believed in was saving wilderness. Edward Abbey understood that humans are connected to wilderness. And we have to have, for a long time we've saved either the pretty parts of our landscapes or maybe the pretty animals, the cute ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't dealt with biotic communities. You can't just save the mountain tops. You got to save the open spaces and maybe less. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think the salt flats are ugly. Clearly, they don't have a very good concept of what beauty means.
Yeah.
So it's all different, but it's all connected, and he got that. And Edward Abbey had an uncanny ability in his nonfiction, from Desert Solitaire to The Journey Home to One Life at a Time, Please, of making himself a character in his books. Edward Abbey. But a whole separate character. And I don't know how he did that, because most of us, we try to write about our own experiences in the wilderness. It doesn't make very good reading to other people.
No.
But Ed could
Desert
pull that
Solitaire.
off.
There's been a lot of copycats since Desert Solitaire, but very, very few people can pull that off. Like I try to write about visiting. I did it this issue. I went down Cataract Canyon, wrote about
yes, I read that piece.
Navtech and my favorite guides, and it was a blast. This is the story. From Cubicle to River, I wrote about a river guide and how he went from being an accountant, working with
And
his
how
dad.
the river got. It's a good article, Rich.
Oh,
but you're
thanks.
not Edward Abbey.
But no, I'm not Edward Abbey. I can't put
Okay,
myself...
end of interview.
Yeah. But it's like he does something special because you could tell he's a young guy struggling with finding his place in the world. And he goes out to the Canyonlands and he realizes his struggle is humanity's struggle. Like he is wanting to be in contact with nature and have nature be a big part of his life, but that's all of humanity's struggle as we grow and progress. And I'll tell you something, I kind of wrestle with whether or not monkey wrenching, using that as a verb, which is your book made it a verb, is really the solution when things like what happened to Christopher happens when anybody tries to monkey wrench the system. What's your opinion on that?
Well, Ed himself dealt with that in the very book we're talking about, the Monkey Wrench Gang. The coal train that they were blowing up that's not supposed to have anybody on it. It was automated, but yet there was a human being on at that time. And Rich, violence in America is as common as the proverbial apple pie. But when I say violence, I'm talking about violence against people and living things. What we cannot abide is violence towards machinery and establishments. Torturing people, so what? Big deal. I'm being facetious here. And Ed saw that. And he tried to deal with the moral ethics. I mean, the morality of violence was one of his early essays for his, when he was a grad student at the U of New Mexico in the 40s.
Really?
He grappled with that all his life. And he tried to deal with it. That scene when I do this occasional class, Cognition in the Wild, up at the University of Utah, that David Strayer created decades ago, retired now. And they're assigned to read Desert Solitaire. And over the decades I've done this class, I've never had a class, the first question is, did Edward Abbey really kill that snake? Or that's the thing, that's the takeaway they get from the book. And what I say, I don't know. You're going to have to read the book and make up your own mind. I'm not here to speak. Edward Abbey is perfectly capable of speaking for himself. And just because he's been gone 34 or however many years it is now, if you want to know what Edward Abbey thought or what he would do, read his books carefully. If you want to know his position on writers, there's a beautiful essay in One Life at a Time, Please, on writers and writing, and it just tears writers a new asshole.
On writers, on writing.
Yep.
By who?
By Edward Abbey. It's in his very last book of essays, 1988.
Really?
One Life at a Time,
I have not
Please.
seen that.
Hardly anyone has ever read that essay.
Is it still? Is it? You
Still
have
in
it in
print?
your shop?
Oh yeah, we got paperback copies at the shop in print.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Yeah, you said he struggled with the idea, the morality of violence. I mean, today in our world, we're having increasing political violence, and to me, I was never like a huge follower or huge fan of Charlie Kirk, but I do agree with the statement. Words should being exchanged between oppositional parties should be the common way of going about it rather than bullets. Like, it's just
Violence isn't the answer. It never has been. When Edward Abbey introduced me to Earth First in 1981, he said, "Ken, if you want to talk about that silly calendar of yours, come to Lone Rock Campground on Lake Powell." So I drive down there in my old beat-up Chevy pickup truck, and there's a bunch of hippie rednecks with a Volkswagen van that's overflowing with black plastic. "Who the heck are you? What the heck are you doing here?" And I didn't care for their bedside manner. So we had a big standoff till Ed shows up, and it was Dave Foreman and the rest of the founders of Earth First. And they gleefully explained to me how they were going to unfurl a 300-foot black plastic crack down the face of Glen Canyon. Sounded good to me. And so Earth First, they got into all of these issues. By 85, we'd been infiltrated by the FBI and goodness knows how many other organizations. We had held lots and lots of activities, and in my opinion, today, I don't think we would have survived them. I think we would have been taken out. And violence against the right or the left is never the answer. And one of the reasons why I left Earth First, because they're recruiting on college campuses and stuff. So you're going to get young people looking for direction. You know, like Ed Abbey always said, "I don't want to be anybody's guru or guruette." What an awful word. And you have to be in charge of your own mind and your own body. And when I would get in these crowd situations at Earth First activities, I'm here to tell you, whether you had 50 people or 500, they turned their own will over to you. You could incite them to do anything. And that scared the living crap out of me. I don't want that responsibility. You're in charge of you, not me. And I could never advocate that. If any action that you're going to contemplate or do that could possibly create harm to another living thing, well, except maybe mosquitoes, you can't do it. Mm-hmm. And you don't know. If you don't know, rolling a rock off, top of a mountainside, you can't do that anymore. There's too many of us.
Something I've been thinking about is I feel like there's an absence of critical thinking where people are really examining two sides of an issue, experiencing that feeling of cognitive dissonance, like, well, I don't know which side's right. And then spending time quietly thinking about things as opposed to, yes, let's go fight, let's stop them, let's protest, let's chant. It's like I really think people need to talk to each other and understand clearly the different sides of two issues.
We don't do that anymore.
No, it's like we don't do it.
I'll give you one other example. In the Earth First days in the 80s, the Department of Energy was still trying to find a location for the nation's first high-level nuclear waste dump. Davis and Lavender Canyons on the borders of Needles District, Canyonlands National Park, were on that list. The DOE held hearings at the old Hotel Utah here in Salt Lake City. All the state officials were here, Fed officials, DOE, and all the well-meaning environmental groups taking their 5-minute time to make their speech. So I assembled a ragtag band of a dozen of us. I had an old leftover 100-year-old Masonic temple robe with all kinds of royal purple and gold and sequins galore. And I had some leftover beehive hairdos from my Utah Gateway to Nevada book. I went out and bought us white paper radiation suits. And then what the heck does radiation look or feel like? Hell if I know. So I went to the gardening store and bought bags of vermiculite. So the 12 of us, we go in there, we take over the microphone. My shaman reads our speech telling the DOE and everyone else from the governor on down what they can do with their nuclear waste, and while we're going down the aisles pouring fake nuclear waste on their heads. Like President Bush in Iraq, I had no exit strategy. I thought we were going to be arrested, but we weren't, so we went home. Today, I think, one, we never would have gotten anywhere near that microphone, and possibly we wouldn't have survived it.
Yeah.
That's how things have
Then
changed.
you'd be declared a terrorist organization.
Eco-terrorist.
Yeah.
We didn't have that
And-
word in the 80s, Rich.
Yeah, I suppose. And Earth First did eventually get designated something like that.
Oh, yeah, of
eco-terrorist?
course.
Yeah.
Well, they after Ed Abbey died, they set up we'd been infiltrated for years, and they set up this sting with a nuclear sabotage incident, and Dave went to federal prison, and he wouldn't rat out his alleged co-conspirators. The late writer Charles Bowden put his house up to get Dave's bail to get him out of prison,
Wow.
and they were all put on trial and sent to prison
Wow.
for an action that the federal government undertook. The underground agent bought the equipment that they used.
So to understand, there was a sting operation to buy equipment from Earth First?
No, to provide it to them to be able to cut down these stanchions that were going into some kind of nuclear facility.
Oh, really?
I wasn't involved with that. I
That
can't
that
really tell
nuclear
you much.
facility you described that was going to be built near
That-
the Needles district, was that ever built?
No, this was more in Arizona, I believe. I was talking about a nuclear waste dump.
Oh,
at
a nuclear
Needles.
waste, and that was
That-
never built.
Not to this day. It hasn't been.
Wow. Huh.
It was
I
right
wanna
next
show,
to Heidi Red's dugout ranch.
I want to show this clip that you described. I found it. It's the unfurling of the giant crack down Glen Canyon Dam. This was
March
pretty
24th,
awesome.
1981, John Wesley Powell's birthday.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. So 3 or 4 guys carrying it.
There were 5 of them and me down on the dam. I made damn certain no one photographed me. Damn certain. Notice that was another pun, Rich.
There it is. And there's a crowd watching, I guess.
No, they're all up on the visitor
Surely
center.
no man-made structure in modern
There we go.
American history
That's my
has been
truck.
hated so much by so many
Wow.
for so long
Is that
for
you?
such good reason
No.
as Glen Canyon Dam.
Get stuck for a minute.
God, that would have been tough to make that.
That's 20 feet wide and 300 feet long. That looks like a minnow.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
Nobody's ever set foot down on that dam since that day that wasn't the federal employee.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, that's a great demonstration. I'm sure you got a lot of media attention, and
Well, that gave birth to Earth First.
and so then Edward Abbey reads a statement, and yeah. Well, and it's I think you bring up a really good point. I mean, as soon as you label one side as being a terrorist organization, and they're not committing acts of terror, essentially you've ended the conversation. That's gonna now be the FBI is going to get involved, the public authorities, they're going to be tracking them. I think, what do you think about Antifa being labeled terrorist organization?
It's exactly the tactics you just described. And anyone you don't like is a terrorist.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
kinda
or are
split.
you? Have you ever been a communist? Taylor Gunner Joe. Is it any different than the 50s?
Yeah.
We should talk about something more pleasant.
Yeah, let's not go down there.
How about-
I've been paying attention to all this crap.
Well,
and
I know.
and it's hard to not to, but
So, Rich, it's my 50th anniversary as a bookseller in downtown Salt Lake City,
Yeah.
from Cosmic Airplane to Ken Sanders Rare Books.
that's amazing.
And, about 4 years ago, we moved into the Leonardo Museum. And sadly, the Leonardo Museum is now closed, leaving my bookstore alone in a 5-story, 100,000 square foot building. Now, if I was a younger man, I'd fill that sucker full of books. It used to be the library. It was built as the original, not original, but as a brand new library in the early 60s.
Yeah.
But I'm too old. I don't have that much energy left.
Gosh,
But-
imagine that, though. If you filled that place full of books again.
Don't tell the city. No, I promise I'm not going to do it. Mayor Erin Mendenhall and her staff, my future is in limbo. We are open. The Leonardo is closed. Ken Sanders Rare Books is open.
So are you going to put a giant 30-foot sign, Ken Sanders Rare Books?
Yes,
instead
well,
over
I've
the
been meaning
Leonardo?
to do that for 4 years, but those banners are $3,000 a piece, and I haven't had the
Man,
money.
I'll get you a better deal. I know a guy who prints them. Because it's got to be, people got to know you're still there.
Yeah, I know,
That was my
and
first
I-
thought.
I know.
I thought, Leonardo, the only thing I care about there is your shop. People got to know you're still around, so you got to get a sign on that place.
So I'm in limbo. The city is working. They're saying very nice things. The mayor has said that whatever the future of the old library building is, that my bookstore is a major part of it.
Mhm.
I hope that's true, and her people can't have been nicer to work with, and I've been dealing with a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they are taking ownership of that building. It's got a lot of delayed maintenance. It needs fixing, and I look forward to being there. I don't know how, but
So is it city-owned property?
oh
like
yes, of course.
RDA now?
The entire nothing to do with RDA
So
that I know
it's
of.
not going to go in RDA hands, as
No.
far as you know.
No, it's the Olive Library Square, which is now the new library, the old library, and me.
Mm-hmm.
It's me and the library, the only tenants left on that entire city block.
Yeah.
So I'm
And
all
as-
for bringing festivals, whatever, down. I'm not a big fan of them closing all the streets and bagging all my parking off. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult for people to get in. But we're very much alive. We have books on 3 floors of the old library.
Mhm.
And it's full of stuff, and it's fun stuff. Younger people, it's a museum, Rich.
Yeah.
But except everything's for sale.
Yeah.
So to celebrate 50 years, tomorrow at the old Ladies Literary Society building, 850 East South Temple, a man named Dave has bought it and turned it into the clubhouse, and it's an events and community center. He's a real photography buff. He has an open every Wednesday. He has an open darkroom photography lab that he allows people to use for free. They're holding all kinds of great events there, and Bill Allred from Radio from Hell, X96, myself, Jim Santangelo from the Utah Wine Academy will be there tomorrow, 11 to 1. It's a ticketed event.
Nice.
And you get served a specialty cocktail based on Edward Abbey. We're going to celebrate my 50th anniversary and the 50th anniversary of the Monkey Wrench Gang tomorrow at the clubhouse.
That's awesome.
And
No.
Fisher Brewery, those guys are so community-minded.
Wait, can you tell people how to get tickets to the first event?
Yeah, just Google the clubhouse.
The clubhouse,
Or,
okay.
literary libations.
Literary
That
libations.
will take you to the
Okay.
ticket. You can buy them at the door.
Okay.
850 East South Temple, 11 to 1 p.m. It's meant to be, it's a podcast like I think we're doing now. But it's live podcast, and then it's a live show, and then they podcast it later. The podcast is not live. But so that's at the clubhouse.
Just looking it up now just to make sure.
Sunday
Okay.
at Fisher Brewery, 4 p.m. on, will be another celebration celebrating my 50 years as a bookseller and the Monkey Wrench Gang's 50th. And this here is I just came from Fisher Brewery on the way here. This is the Monkey Wrench Gang 6-pack. And
That's
you'll
awesome.
note here,
I love that one.
Ken Sanders, took 50 years, Rich, and I've joined the Monkey Wrench Gang.
That's awesome.
And
gotta get a
the
close
beer,
look at that.
The beer will be for sale. There'll be a big party with food and drink. And Trent Harris and Robert Gerke are going to roast me. And then I may, depending on what they say, I may roast them.
Trent Harris is going to be there.
Yeah, Trent and I went to high school together. And then this is the Monkey Wrench Gang 50th anniversary box. It's full of all these pages. Everybody, Joshua Abbey, Susanna Abbey, have written pieces for it. Ed's oldest children. Hold these two up. Sophie Crum, Robert Crum's daughter, agreed to draw portraits of her father and Edward Abbey for me and signed them. There's going to be a fun box, limited edition, 300 copies.
So Sophie Crum did both of these?
Yes.
Awesome.
She says, it's going to be kind of weird drawing my dad. It's going to be a fun blowout. I don't have them
Doug
here.
Peacock. Remind me who.
Yeah, Doug Peacock is the inspiration for the character of Hayduke in the Monkey Wrench Gang.
Okay.
He has signed his piece.
That's awesome.
And Ken Slidus, who we were talking about earlier, spent his 96th birthday signing 300 copies of his print. He's sitting there praying on Glen Canyon Dam. All we need here, God, is one little precision earthquake.
Yeah, Ken's awesome. He
is.
I interviewed him maybe 10 years ago in his Quonset hut.
Yeah.
And he was drinking whiskey, and he's just awesome guy.
And then I've written a little piece for it called The Other Side of River Solitaire. That is a note Edward Abbey left on his ammo can for me.
So just so people know, all of this stuff is included with
in the box.
With the limited edition box you're selling.
And all the authors have signed, and artists have signed their pieces.
See that it's, you seeing forward or backward, Jack? Backwards. Okay. Yeah, you can see this box will be a receptacle for all of these items that are going to be in it. And this is really cool, too. This is a piece by Tim DeChristopher. And if you don't know him, he was Bitter 67. No, Bitter 70.
Bitter 70.
And he went to federal prison for essentially monkey wrenching the oil and gas lease on a piece of land that was in the middle of near Canyonlands, right?
Yeah, yes, near Needles, Davis, and Lavender Canyons.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wrong story. The BLM oil and gas leases were in and around Arches, Canyonlands, and also Dinosaur Monument.
Yeah, and so he
went to a federal penitentiary.
Had to serve how many years for doing that?
3 years.
Yeah, and then he actually worked for you
for a year. He didn't get out of prison. He was. They have a kind of work release program to integrate you back in society. The Unitarian Church had given him a full-time job as director. Now my memory's going. Anyhow, had offered him a full-time job, and the Department of Justice said, "You can't be the director of social justice. That's your crime." So they took the job away, which means he was going back to the prison. And I got a phone call. So next day I signed the clipboard, and Tim, wearing a Monkey Wrench Gang T-shirt, showed up reporting for duty, warden.
So let's show this. This is pretty cool. It says here, property of Warden Sanders.
That was Tim's doing.
And it's his inmate card from being in prison. So.
And then we have Terry, who's been in Rome, getting an audience with the Pope. She's the only person that hasn't signed. She wrote a beautiful essay on the monkey wrench for me for the box.
And I want to read a little bit of this.
Please do.
She's a great poet. She says, she writes, the monkey wrench gang.
Read the title first, please.
Oh, the light body of a monkey wrench. The monkey wrench gang was not designed to dismantle the machine. It's a tool of transformation made to throw light against darkness, shattering cynicism, blowing up lethargy, cutting down billboards or self-bloviation. Pick up your wrench, raise it high, this gleaming radiance of wild, unruly resistance, the slaying of Acadia, Abbey's eternal revenge of words. My job is to save the fucking wilderness. I don't know anything else worth saving. We'll work it out as we go along. Let our practice form our doctrine, assuring precise theoretical coherence. Listen to the canyon wren, calling forth the multitudes. Let the night work begin. Terry Tempest Williams. I should have had you read that. That's great.
Here, hand me the yellow one. So, from our river trips down the Green to Colorado, Ed always had more time. So he'd gone off on a hike, and he left this note for me. It said, I can't read it without my glasses. Friday, 10 a.m. Ken, welcome. I've gone uphill to Beehive Arch, Confluence Overlook Trail. May return by moonlight, if any. Ed. I don't know how to hold it. Hold both sides up.
So he just tells you he's up there, and he might return or might not.
And then the back of it, you can see the clamp where he slammed it in his ammo can to keep the wind from blowing it away.
So you were on the trip with him, and he just
we
took
did
off
a
on
whole
it?
series of river trips together in the 80s.
God,
Same
that's
river
cool.
trip every time. In November, in the 80s, there's no one down there in November.
Yeah, that's a great time to go.
So we had the whole river and the park to ourselves. We'd hike our ass off all day long in the maze.
Yeah, that's awesome. So would you guys go with a guide, or would you go just privately?
Of course we wouldn't go with a guide. Now, this is a tiny essay called The Other Side of River Solitaire. In that last essay book, One Life at a Time, Please, where the writer's credo is the name of that essay, by the way. He writes River Solitaire, and Ed lies about some of the facts in our trip. Well, I shouldn't say lie. He has a alternate take on them. And I encapsulated in this very short essay that's more of a 100-page essay that I have about half written that who knows if I'll ever finish. But you get a taste of our trips together from that essay. Ed loved to provoke people. Ken, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? You're not going to make those silly calendars, are you? But those calendars win awards for interpretation, Ed. I didn't actually say that to him. But
That's pretty cool.
A lot of fond
Would you go
memories.
with other guys?
Both of us invited people, and one trip, my friend Sarah came with me, and we were behind Ed. And in fact, it was the very trip that the yellow note's from. Mm-hmm. Ed had it in his mind that we were supposed to show up on a certain day. He was just dead wrong about it. The man didn't know weekend from weekday, let me tell you. And here, the irony is, here's a man that prefers his own company in the wilderness for as long as possible. But according to Ed's account in River Solitaire, I didn't show up on time. For 2 days I stiffed him, Sarah and I.
That's
not true, Ed. Sorry. So he got... The essay is not about me and our river trips. The essay is about loneliness. But he throws me under the bus.
Really? Interesting. Huh. So you rode down the river separately, each in your own boats.
Ed had
prearranged days would rendezvous, and you'd rendezvous on. That's actually pretty cool. If you're in your own boat and you're going down that incredible Cataract Canyon, oh man.
We didn't think anything of it. Well, we got together. Ed had a shitty sport yak. It's like a bathtub toy. It's an injected plastic boat. I hesitate to call it a boat.
Was it like a canoe? Or
Well, it's hard plastic, but it's a rowboat
a rowboat?
that maybe you should use in a swimming pool.
It's Cataract. It's tricky, man.
So,
did you
I had
scout the rapids and take out your boat and portage and all that? And when you went down?
we scouted big drops. Yeah. No port. It's the water. There's no support. If you F up and end up in the water, you're going to freeze to death pretty quick.
Yeah.
there, and nobody gonna rescue you.
Yeah.
Our buddy Richard Quist from Moki Mac would pick us up on Lake Fowl below the big drops.
Mm-hmm.
It was
That's where
still
we got
it
picked
was
up.
really high. Now, all that land. You go down to Cat Trip, you start to see
Yeah.
the Glen Canyon again. It's just well, you were
Yeah.
just through it,
Yeah.
and all the big mud
There's
banks
new
they
rapids.
call the Dominy formation after Floyd C. Dominy, the Bureau of Reclamation director that created Glen Canyon Dam.
Yeah, it is a trip because
And
what
all the
happened,
tamarisk is up there dying.
Yeah, you what you had is like the silt went all the way back and filled up
Yep.
because it's been so low for so long, and the silt I guess is shifted. It's like washing out that silt, and new rapids are forming.
Yes.
And the guide really wanted me to do a story on these guys who are naming and examining and scientifically
Yes.
trying to talk about what's going to be happening as the silt gets washed out.
I can't
And,
wait.
Yeah, it's
I hope
it's
to get
way
to,
cool.
I hope we still do an annual river trip with Crate, Colorado Rivers and Trails, like Holiday. They're about the only two since the demise of Moki Mac. They were the only three river runners that headquartered in Green River, Utah.
Oh, really?
And two of the three of them are still alive and well.
I never heard of them.
Family owned, and they do. They give it their all on the trips. I used to row for Moki Mac back in the day, and I don't row anymore. I haven't stayed in shape. But the Crate trips, my friend musician Kate McLeod, you should interview her. She's got, in fact, she is so, well, irritated with me right now because she has her River CD coming out, and her release party is Sunday night.
Oh, boy.
And I can't go to it because I'm having my party,
Dang.
and she can't come to mine.
Well,
So
I'll
she's not very happy with me right now. But this woman has made a living with her music here since 1979,
Yeah,
when
we-
she came out here from back east to go to Peter Paul Pryor's violin making school.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
she's been out here ever since.
That was my first documentary film on Peter Pryor's
She
violin
worked
school.
for Peter for 10 years.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
she
we
did-
got to have her on. I've heard cool things about her. I've never
On
met
our
her.
river trips, Rich, she sits there and writes songs every single day and then performs them at night.
Wow.
And it's like, she's telling me, okay, and then so she does that, and I tell stories and lies and read things. And Kate will say, well, what do you got? What do you got for tonight? Kate, I don't have like an express lane to the muse like you do.
Yeah.
I don't know how she
That's
does it.
that's what I loved about this river trip. I wrote about it, how you don't have your cell phone coverage. You have the sun going down, the river going by, and all you have to do is talk. And you talk about,
Rich,
you avoid anything contentious, but you just talk about whatever. And I think that's just something, unfortunately, we're losing, where people are just always occupied with the TV, with the phones, with some kind of electricity. Out there, you got the stars, and you got the river.
And typically because I certainly have done plenty and rode plenty of private trips, but through Moki Mac and Crate, we're doing these commercial trips. So you get this diversity of people from all over the country that you seemingly have nothing in common with.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens, Rich, I call it the metamorphosis. It can happen on any kind of wilderness trip, but I think it's concentrated on river trips. And people are writing books and doing scientific studies on this stuff that I've just known intuitively for decades.
Mm-hmm.
That third day especially, what it is your job. You're not here anymore. You're there, and that's your job. To get up when they yell coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and you do this complete transformation,
Yeah.
this metamorphosis.
Yeah, there's
and you
something-
all go through it together. It's very tribal.
Yeah.
And
You're
now
absolutely right.
this reality doesn't exist anymore up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your consciousness gets caught up in the moment.
Yes, absolutely.
And you see these people as you're all in this boat together. You're getting to know each other. You're rowing around these treacherous rapids, and you're absolutely right. It's something special happens. And I really wish these damn parents who are taking their kids to Disneyland for $10,000 now. Go on a fucking river trip. It is so much more fun with your kids. I took my boys on a river trip, and they absolutely loved it. And their kids into devices too, into TV. But you get out on the river, it is a lot of fun. And
Yes, we did. I've done 2 river trips recent years with my 2 grandchildren. They're teenagers now, and my kids. I don't think I should say this publicly because I don't think it's legal. Michael went down Cataract Canyon and he's like 6 or 7 years old.
really,
Minimum age is 12.
yeah, my daughter, I
But
decided
he's
she wasn't
always
old
been
enough.
tall for his age. Okay,
Yeah.
he's 6'5" now.
Well, Navtech said, as long as she's gonna obey,
and can hold on.
yeah, and knows what to do when the boat starts twisting and you start getting pinned against a rock. Don't freak out and jump in the water. But I decided not to take my daughter because it was a good idea. Because this trip was a booze cruise. It was like people drinking the whole day,
Not a good environment.
and it was fun, but it was not good.
Although,
for kids.
my children knew enough Spanish to, otra cerveza, por favor, when they're quite at an early age.
Nice. Did your wife go on these trips with you?
She went on one once with me. Her opinion was it was too much work to go to just to have fun.
Yeah, my wife's not going to do it, so it's got to be me and whoever else wants to come.
Well, the kids,
But,
yeah.
it's fun taking.
Yeah,
kids.
it's, I've been going down the river since the late 70s.
That's awesome.
And there's very few years I've missed at least one trip. I just, as I said, I haven't stayed in shape to row anymore, and I miss that. But
Yeah, there's something about this Moab and Salt Lake City where Moab's kind of got this sort of more connected with the earth quality about it, the people who live there. I've always loved that bookshop, the
Back of Beyond.
Back of Beyond.
Which I actually founded that bookstore.
Did you really?
Yep.
Wow.
I named it after a phrase from Edward Abbey. Found the location. I had a partner. We'll call him Dr. Doom. And we had a grand opening there, and then I got screwed, blued, and tattooed out of it.
No way.
Nothing against the store or its current owners, mind
Yeah.
you. That's important.
Your buddy sold it to this younger gal. I can't remember what his name was, but
Andy Nettle
Yeah, Andy.
bought it, and then Andy has now sold it to David Everett, who's the
Oh, okay.
sole proprietor of Back of Beyond.
Yeah,
and I'm friendly with them both.
yeah, it kind of feels like it's got your DNA in it because it's all these amazing naturalist books and books about rivers and books about it, of course, Edward Abbey's complete collection. But Moab is a really special place because I just think people take on a different mindset there, and you get out of sort of the rat race, the concrete jungle, and you go down there and people are more connected.
Well, and yes, but nowadays, I mean, I saw it coming. I bought a house, and I told everyone, I don't care what you have to do. Borrow money, take mortgages out, any piece of ground or house, buy it, buy it, buy it. And I followed my own advice. I bought a home kind of east of 4th East. That's the street Miltz is on.
Yeah.
And kind of north. You can't go very far north if you're on 4th East.
Okay.
And it's above 4th East, a full acre of ground, the house on it, and a well.
Nice.
And I bought it for $30,000.
Jeez.
And
Wow.
but I found a dream home up Immigration Canyon. The kids are still young. That I'm never going to be able to go build my own house in the country, but at least I can pretend I'm living out. I am living outside the city, up Immigration. I sold the home for. I only owned it less than a year. I sold it for $90,000.
Wow. Back in
And
the 80s?
now it's $1 million plus. Yeah.
But you still so the Moab property You don't have any more?
I sold it for
got it.
$90,000.
But you have one. You have one up in immigration.
No.
Oh, you're talking about.
Oh no, you don't want to get into the dark side here, Rich. I bought my dream home. I sold the Moab house. I bought a 3,400 square foot home, just up from Crompton's roadside attraction, up immigration, with that money. And this would-be architect had taken an old shack up there, a cabin. She had bulldozed the mountain out from behind it to make enough flat space. And then she diverted Emigration Creek from the back to the road and around the house and back. And out of this old shack, she built a 3-story, 3,400 square foot home. We move in, the walls start cracking, the dining room floor starts tilting. Oh, I forgot to mention, she didn't bother to put a foundation under it, and she sold it to me. I'll quit torturing you. Long story short, the house was condemned. I lost everything.
Oh my god!
And I had to pay the mortgage off on top of all
No
that.
way. Because
And
the whole foundation began cracking.
It was
underneath.
condemned and bulldozed,
Holy cow!
and there was nothing. I sued them. I did.
Wow!
I lost everything.
Holy cow! Wow!
Not one of my more fun stories.
But you have a place near the U or something?
I thanks to my lovely daughter Melissa, she didn't find the house, but I was never going to buy a house again in my life. I can guarantee you that. And Ray Kingston, a retired now deceased architect, he worked on Snowbird as a young architect.
Mm-hmm.
He remodeled this old arts and crafts home up by the University of Utah, and I managed to buy it from him. I think I got the last stated income loan in America. You didn't have to prove. I could never have afforded this house. But I got it, and I'm still there, and I'm loving it. It's my elephant graveyard. It's full of my books. It's full of my records. It's full of my life, and I ain't moving.
That's
I told
great.
Melissa when the time comes, just have them, throw meals underneath this. This is the back of my property, the Sarvis Gate. The dock. My brother made that for me, Doug
That's
Sanders.
cool.
And it made me hard to see, but the latch to the gate is a real monkey wrench.
That's out of steel.
Yeah, he
God, that's cool.
fabricated it himself. Yeah, I didn't even know he was going to do it.
Looks like you got like a nice little wooded area around there.
Yeah, well, I call it Forest House. I had the privilege of having Wendell Berry visit it once, the last
Wow.
time he was in town. And in his gentle Kentucky manner that he had, he said, "Well, Ken, it's a right nice forest and all, but it's a mite lean on acreage," is the way he put it.
Well, that's cool, man.
Oh, and back to the anniversaries.
Mhm.
So for my 50th anniversary, Mayor Mendenhall is coming to the shop. I should have rehearsed this. I believe it's early in the morning on October 20th. And she's going to have the city film crew come, and she's going to commemorate me for 50 years of downtown bookselling.
Awesome.
And gosh, maybe we'll have an announcement about my future there then. That's pushing things, I suspect. But I've asked her to, even though it's my 50th anniversary of bookselling, I've asked her to proclaim Independent Booksellers Day, because I want to recognize all of us.
Yeah.
Because whether you're Pete Marshall and Tony Weller, that are third generation booksellers in this town, or
Mhm.
Betsy Burton, a pioneering King's English bookselling woman, or these under the umbrella, the new queer store, or now we have a romance bookstore in Sugar House.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. Just wrote about them.
We're all in the same struggle. We're all in the same business.
Mhm.
And even though there's many other stories that I don't know and I haven't mentioned, I want it to be not about me. I want it to be a proclamation for all independent booksellers.
Yeah.
And I'm,
Well, there's-
I'm proud of the mayor for doing this.
You know, we've been writing this Utah Stories for 17 years, and I believe we're in a battle between the tangible world of physical experience and physical objects against this intangible, digital, online, virtual existence.
Yes.
And
Good way of
unfortunately,
putting
right
it.
now, the physical, tangible world is losing. And hopefully the pendulum swings back and people understand books, magazines, getting offline, having quiet and silence and solitude is very important. You want to keep your humanity intact.
Amen, brother.
We got to do that. And,
Well
and,
put.
and you are very much a part of the tapestry of downtown Salt Lake. You've been that for very many years and a lot of years. And I commend you for what you've done. Again, you've done a lot of cool
Thank you.
things. Yeah. And thanks for coming on.
It's
Really
always
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure, Rich. Thank you for doing what you guys do.
Yeah, appreciate it. And check out this can of Fisher beer.
On
Man,
sale Sunday
super
at
cool.
Fisher Brewery.
Yeah,
Get them while you can.
These are probably going to run out really quick. And this is probably Fisher's Light Pilsner, which I absolutely love. So
I forgot what it is.
yeah. And then Other Side Donuts. We're
Oh my gosh.
plugging these guys. They got
Yep.
a location off Indiana Avenue, Redwood Road, and they're incredible. I already ate 2 of these today. That's why I didn't bite into that. But yeah, they're transforming lives through their programs, and really appreciate those guys.
And
everything
well, I
they're
mean, I
doing.
guess the land was donated, but they've largely been doing it without taxpayer support.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
what's amazing
The
about
thrift stores. I used to
Yeah.
be, when they first came here, I was very involved with the thrift stores, but it just got, I couldn't, it just was too, their operation grew so fast, I couldn't possibly, and most of the books that they get in it is not stuff that I want,
Mhm.
but I tried to help them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, they don't get a dime of taxpayer support, and so we wrote about them in our Faces of Utah. This is our magazine we launched last.
Well-
Have you seen this? Yeah, well, you were in the first issue.
That's right.
Hopefully you saw it. But these are the guys, and we wrote all about them and how they're changing the face of
Well, one
Utah.
person at a time, and I mean, I understand it's a pretty hard boot camp, but they do women
Yeah.
now in addition to men. The thing is, you have to change your lifestyle. They want people that want to change their lifestyle because they can't, they can't help everyone.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the homeless industrial complex, everybody in it has the very best of intentions, but all of these
hasn't been
people
working.
here were drug addicts and criminals and convicts and facing
And if
all
you
this
if
time
you
and
meet
no-
them,
no prospect.
they will tell you that.
Yeah, and they all are incredible
I've hired them
human
several
beings, and-
times.
Have you?
And they're the hardest working moving crew you ever saw in your life. They pick up 2 big heavy boxes at a time and run with them.
Yeah.
Run with them.
Yeah, they work their asses off.
They
It's
do.
really cool to see them. So anyway, if you want to pick up Face of Utah magazine, visit utahstories.com. You can subscribe and become a member. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I need to plug anything else, right? Oh yeah, Clark's Auto, of course, man. Clark's is the premier independent Subaru and service and repair shop in Sugar House, and they are a sponsor of this podcast. And I really like these guys. If you got a Subaru, you got to go to Clark's. That's basically it. All right, I think that's the show.